What's up, y'all? Welcome back to HRT. I hope you had a good week. I'm very excited to announce that we have another trans woman on the podcast this week. Her name is Tori. Tori is awesome. Tori is a mod in the Discord. I've been talking to Tori for a long time now, and she is just great. I just filmed the episode with her. She has a very inspiring story. She's been through a lot that I can relate to, and I really enjoyed speaking with her. So I'm really excited for you guys to get to hear that. Patreon. Join my Patreon. A lot of you actually did from last episode, and I really appreciate you so much. If you haven't already, now that the numbers are starting to get up there for my Patreon, you're going to be missing out. So I highly suggest you do that. And Discord, join the Discord. You know it. You know the spiel. Just do it so I can stop saying this every time. And I hope you had a good Halloween. I hope you liked last episode. My editor, Max, worked very hard on it. Max, give yourself a round of applause. Thank you, Max. And yeah, I hope you enjoy this episode. Let's go talk to Tori. Okay, bye. All right.
Okay.
Where are you from?
I live in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
I do. Yeah. I was born in Georgia and lived most of my life in Ohio.
Oh shit. Okay. Now, how you live most of your life in Ohio? How was Ohio with being trans and whatnot?
Oh, well, I wasn't, so it was great. So it was awesome.
How about Wisconsin?
Wisconsin is okay. It's okay. Like, it's not the worst. Yeah, I look around at the other states and I'm just like, well, but like I'm still like hyper focused on like all of the laws and stuff because our rights get taken away monthly depending on where you live. And so I'm just waiting for Wisconsin to get on the chopping block. There's already some that we're trying to go through in Madison.
Who was from Wisconsin? I think wasn't Clara from Wisconsin? I think he was.
Yeah, one other person on here was for sure.
Yeah, he said about the same thing. It's he was like, it's Wisconsin.
We got cheese. And you like our milk.
Now, how old are you, by the way?
I am 33.
33? Nice. And
old lady.
It's not that old. Come on.
Oh, you were like getting on to people earlier.
I know.
You had the two like guys on here, and you're just like, so being of the older variety.
I know, and he was like in his late 30s too. I felt so bad for that. I think that was Aiden. Oh, he flamed me for that. 33 is like, it's like midlife, right? Or
no, it's not midlife. Damn. Put me on blast. Fine. Okay.
I think okay, but like I feel like people live to like what, like 80 now? So like midlife would be 50 if people live to 100, but since people live to like 80, it has to be around.
So 40, and I'm 33.
All right, I'll give it to you.
Okay. Cool.
This podcast just consists of every guest who's over the age of like 25. It's just me calling them old.
Yeah.
Now let me ask, are you on estrogen?
I am.
Nice. How long have you been on estrogen?
I've been on since 2020. But it's been 3 years, but only on a full dose of it for 2 years. They did like this very slow progression with me, which was frustrating.
Now, are you on injections or the estrogen pill?
The pill.
Nice. Okay. I think Ulrich was also on the pill, right? Now, I think Ulrich told me, but I forget. Is that the standard for trans women to be on estrogen pill? Okay.
They almost always start you on the pill, and then if you want to get on the shot, they can. But I've heard a lot of like, I don't know, like I think the shot. The problem is everything is anecdotal. Like it's because there's not a lot of good science behind it.
Mm.
So it's just like, oh, I had much better success on it, but that's not like scientifically like, and I'm all about the scientifically like sound stuff
Mm-hmm. Right.
with all my research. But it appears that the shot seems to have quicker effects, and it seems to be a good thing to switch to when you can.
Mm.
Um, but it's not necessary. And
Interesting.
it's also a lot more expensive. And that's the big thing that keeps me from doing the shot, is
Mm.
because it will become so much more expensive, just like over the counter and stuff, even though I have insurance. And yeah, it's just, I have to kind of, and no one really knows exactly how much it's going to be, but it seems like
Right.
it's going to be like
Hmm.
I think, how expensive is it for you? Is
For testosterone, well, I was paying like fucking $100 a month when I went to an endocrinologist and like would have to go pick it up from the pharmacy. I didn't have insurance. That was the problem there.
Oh, okay.
But now from I use folks, uh, which they're great. I think it was $80 a month when they didn't accept insurance. Now I think they're starting to accept insurance, but they also changed it to like now they're charging $30 or something. But it ends up being the same at the end of the day, so it's just fucking expensive.
Yeah, so like I can go and get all my pills. I can get my progesterone, my spiralactone, and my estradiol, and I can do that and pay $15 for all three and
Mm,
walk out and just be like,
wow.
okay, whatever. So
Okay, yay.
yeah, yeah, it's like going to Chipotle. It's fine.
Now how do you take like two pills in the morning, two pills at night? How does it work?
I am recommended to do that, but I typically take everything in the morning
Mm, okay.
now. Like I was for a while doing as a good girl should. But then I got to where I was forgetting things. You know a little bit about forgetting your
Mm.
uh
Yeah, I've
my
dabbled in forgetting.
I feel like I'm always yelling at you on the Discord.
I need it though. It's totally fine. I
Yeah,
did do
I
my
feel like
shot
your
last
mom.
night. It's okay. I don't mind.
So 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 yeah, like so I just take it all in the morning, as otherwise I'll forget the evening stuff. So like
Mm,
I take 4 pills of estradiol. So they're all 2 milligrams. So I take 8 milligrams of estradiol,
mm.
um, and 10 milligrams of progesterone, um, which my doctor calls like the baby maker. Um,
I like that. Okay.
so, because apparently, like the cis woman produces a lot more of that when they are going through pregnancy, and so it
Gotcha.
gets the body ready to house a baby. And like so it just helps with getting your breasts fully developed and stuff
Mm,
like that. And it really did like adding that gave me like full like breasts and not like these weird pyramid things. So I do like recommend it because like you
nice.
kind of have these like trans titties where it's like they're kind of more pyramid shaped. It's like stage 2. Like there's like 3 stages of breast development and you're like stuck at stage 2 and you can't
Right.
quite get to the full like
Wow.
thing.
See, it's so
So
interesting to hear because, like, I've had one other trans woman on, so like,
mhm.
I have all of like the relatable things that all the trans guys can relate to, and we all know, and like we all relate on it, and like you don't get to hear the other side of it, so it's just that's interesting.
That's same. That's why I've like when I found I've been listening to your podcast since episode 3, and like yeah,
Oh my
like
gosh.
and when I found it I was just like, "Oh, I want to know about the trans man experience. I want to know so bad."
I know, and I have so many viewers that want to hear more about the trans woman experience, but for some reason, you guys are hard to find.
We're in the shadows.
I know. But okay, so you said you started hormones 3 years ago, and then at what point you went on a higher dose?
So like they started me at literally like 2 milligrams of estrogen, and that was that, and that did basically nothing.
Mm.
Um, and I had to be on that for like I want to say 3 months. And like, and I don't know if it's like a Wisconsin like staple thing or if it's like um just like my doctor's office, but like they wanted to do it very slow and gradual. And I think it was because if I ever like decided to change my mind, like,
Mm,
it would limit the permanent effects of
right.
everything, which is just
Is that frustrating?
awful.
Yeah.
It's so awful because, like, like,
Right.
it's like no one just comes in there on a whim and just is like, oh, I think I'm gonna be a girl for today. It's whatever.
Right.
So
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it is like a just being in Wisconsin thing, but just from my conversation with Ulrich too, like I feel like they or doctors or people who prescribe hormones, whatever, are more hesitant with trans women for some reason.
they are, and I had to lie a little bit
As you
about my
should.
experience.
As you should.
Uh,
Fuck them.
yeah, yeah, because like I knew going in just because of some friends that were already going in and stuff, and they're like, just tell them the story of like ever since you were like, 4, you knew that you were trans and like you were dressing up and like wanted to be a girl and stuff. And I was like, but that's not my experience. And they're like, it doesn't matter. If you want the hormones, that's what you'll say. So I went in there and I was just like, ever since I was 4, I knew I wanted to be a girl. And I told my mom.
It's fucked up that you have to like. 'Cause I remember that too. I mean, sitting in gender therapy with the therapist with the clipboard, writing down everything I said. I was like, oh my god, I feel like I need to like really sell that I'm a man here.
Yeah, with my therapist, because I had to do the therapy too, right? So I already
Hmm.
was doing that for like 4 or 5 months before she would write me my letter so I could go get. So like I'm already have done that with someone who specializes in like the brain and how people think, and
Hmm.
then for the doctor to be like, okay, well, we're gonna give you just a little bit and just a taste
Mm.
of,
What a tease.
yeah, it really, yeah.
That's frustrating. Do you think that when you start injections, do you think you'll have shot anxiety? Like, how do you feel about needles and
Oh,
stuff?
100%. I have Crohn's disease, and so I already had to take shots for since I was 19.
Mm.
And I like am kind of a hypocrite because I get onto you about your shots, but like I would skip all the time. But again, it was just because it's like, oh, okay, like I'll just take this shot in my leg, but like I wasn't looking forward to anything, and now like I'm looking forward to
Right.
like,
Yeah.
but like, so I don't know. I feel like I'd still have some issues, especially because like it's not with my Crohn's disease. It was a shot that was like you just put it on your leg and then you
Mm.
just push the button and it injects it for you. And then you
Mm.
just wait until it's done and then you pull it out. And so like it wasn't like I'm drawing the liquid. I am putting it in my veins.
It's
Like
not a whole
that's
process.
freaky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know that testosterone and whatnot makes it so us trans men can't cry, makes us extra hungry sometimes.
Hmm.
Do you think there's anything with estrogen, like the mood swings or
Yes.
anything for you
Yeah.
guys?
Um I yeah, I never really like I could cry before in
Hmm.
the before time in the long long ago. But like not very often, and there was a lot of times where like I was like I feel like I want to cry and I want to cry, but I can't cry.
Mm.
And I just felt like if I could cry, it would feel better, and I couldn't, and I would just sit there, and sometimes I would just sit there and concentrate on trying to make myself cry, and I just couldn't. Um,
Force yourself to think about something really sad.
yeah, right. But now, yeah, I cry all the time. It's like, my girlfriend was here yesterday, and when she left, like I started crying, and then she started crying, and then we're just sitting on the couch crying because like she was just leaving, and it's just like, but I'm gonna see you in like a week, but like I'm just, ugh.
It's such a girly little experience, though. I love it. Very girly
So
pop of you.
yeah, thank you. But yeah, so definitely the crying, like I cry all the time, but it's always like very therapeutic. Like I love it.
Mm.
I absolutely love it. There's very few times where like I'm just like, no, I don't want to cry right now because like I'm trying to be, a big brave dyke and like it's like no. But most of the time it's like I'm happy that I'm crying because I feel like it's something that I was missing and I don't know, it feels good that like I can express my feelings like that.
That's kind of interesting because, like, I get that. Like, I used to like to cry. I used to not be embarrassed to cry, but now for some reason, like, if I feel tears behind my eyes, I'm like, stop, be a man. What are you doing? It's fucking dumb.
Do you think that's like, toxic masculinity
Oh,
coming through
100%.
or yeah,
100%.
yeah.
And
Makes you
like,
less of a man because you cry?
and like, I'm
Hmm.
surrounded by people who would like be like, it's okay to cry, Cody, just cry. And like, for some reason, I'm like, I can't show you that I have emotions. What are you talking about? It's so stupid.
I think I'm trying to think of irritability.
Mm,
Like I definitely in the early time, like I would got very irritable.
mm,
Um, and then I actually, since I started progesterone, and I started mapping at where like I kind of get a mild period where like usually around like the 20th of the month and stuff, like I just get pain like in my kidneys for like 2 days. It's only 2 days, but like I get pain back there and like I at first I thought, oh, it was nothing, but then I started tracking it and it was always between like the 18th and like the 24th of the month. And I would have it for 2 days and I'm super irritable and like don't talk to me. And like it sucks, but it's also like kind of cool because it doesn't happen to every trans woman, and but I've heard that it's a more common once you start progesterone.
mm.
Um, so
That's interesting. I never knew that.
yeah, it's been kind of again very mild, and I can't even like I'm not even gonna touch the experience of like someone who has ovaries and stuff, but like it's um
I'm not gonna
like
even touch that.
I'm
Relatable.
not even, I'm just saying like I don't think like my it's nearly as bad or anything, but like it's been like oh, and like I realized and I had to like learn to go, okay, I am irritable
Hmm.
and some of the
Right.
people I work with were like, I think like are you okay? And I'm like I'm fine.
Now, even though it like sucks to go through and it's probably like painful and just like a drag, is it? Do you think it's like it helps with gender dysphoria in a way? Like, is it euphoria inducing?
It's euphoria inducing, at least initially. I'm like I'm waiting for it's been happening for the last 6 months now.
Hmm,
And it's been every month like clockwork, same time.
interesting.
And that's the only reason why like I put it together that it was something like that, and then reading up on it.
Hmm.
But it's I don't know, like again, it sucks, but like yeah, it is euphoric because it just makes you feel like yeah, I am a woman. Like yeah, like not that
Yeah.
but it's just like it's another thing that just makes you go yeah, like
Yeah. I love it. Now surgeries. If you're
mhm.
comfortable talking about, do you have
Yeah.
you had any or do you want any? If so, which ones?
Actually, on the 10th of November, I am getting breast augmentation.
Oh my God, slay!
Yeah.
Congratulations! I'm so
Thank
excited for
you.
you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
When did you decide you wanted to do that?
Um, I so pretty much since I came out, I wanted to look at like my breast growth and
Mm,
and see um it's easier for them to do it if you let your breasts grow as much as possible and then they have more to work with when they're trying to insert. So like it was always a goal, but like I wanted to let the time for the estrogen to do its thing and try
Mm-hmm.
to see how far. Because like um you if it got big enough, like then I'd be fine.
Right. Yeah.
But it really was like, okay, I've heard that it it seems to stunt, like going through a male puberty seems to stunt the growth of them.
Mm.
And I look at all the women in my family, and they all had C cups or D cups,
Mm.
and they also have the same kind of frame, and like they're about as tall as I am. I'm 5'9",
Mm.
and and so like I'm looking around at all the cis women in my life, and I'm like, I should have that. And right now I have just like large A cups.
Mm.
So, and it is enough to where I don't know, like when I look in the mirror without like my shirt on and stuff, like it feels like a male body. And right now I kind of feel like somebody took Barbie's head and put it on Ken's body.
Wow, that's like a really good like analogy to like gender dysphoria.
Yeah. And
That hurt
um
me.
no. Yeah, but like that's yeah, it's so like that hurts. And it's hard, and it's I could just see that male chest like straight on, like from the side, or if I'm looking down, like I don't have any gender dysphoria, but like straight on I do when I'm laying like down on my back. It's like I have a flat chest again,
Mm.
and that really like bothers me. So like I knew that was something that was going to get done. And when my uh this year, the insurance I have through my work added transgender care, and
Snap.
and not much, but like one of the things they added was top surgery and breast augmentation, as long as you have letters basically saying that you are trans and that this is a necessary surgery. um, and they would pay for it. And so I was just like, then I just rushed it. I was just like,
As
yes,
you should.
it's been 2 years, and like I've been just like, I want to get it in. I met my deductible, so I'm trying to get it in. Or I did, but like
Mm.
get it in before the new year. And so there's been a little bit of problems. The insurance, for one, said they only needed one letter from a therapist, but then basically was demanding 2 letters.
Mm.
So I had to find another therapist and have them be okay with just seeing me for a couple sessions, not being like a full-time thing,
Mm.
to diagnose me again, and then write me a second letter. That way they would actually do it, which is just gatekeeping. There's no reason for that. That was
Right.
just to keep people from getting the surgery,
Mm-hmm.
so they didn't have to pay for, like, that's how it feels, because it's like, why do you need to?
Right.
Why isn't my one professional that I see every week for like the past year, like,
It's already not fair that we have to have somebody else tell, you know, our surgeon or whoever the hell about us. Like I don't need somebody else to know who I am. I know who I am, you know?
exactly.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But so I got my 2 letters, and then they got me in, and I should have already had it done in October. But the hospital that was going to do it is a Catholic hospital,
Oh,
and when they
jeez.
found out that it was a trans surgery, they denied it.
Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god.
Mm-mm. No. And so then we had to find another place, so then it pushed it back to the 10th.
Mm. Jesus.
Yeah.
Were you just like enraged during that? I would
Oh
have
yeah,
been.
I was mad.
Oh.
Like I grew up Catholic. Like I
Mm.
am an atheist now because I grew up Catholic, but
Mm. Yeah, no, I
um
would be too.
but it's just like like my whole family is like still devout Catholic and stuff. And
Mm.
um yeah, like, so it hurts because it still feels like even though I'm not part of that community anymore, it still feels like my community in a way, because like I
Right.
grew up in the Catholic Church, so it was just like to have them, the Catholics, go no to me, and it was just like it. that hurt.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, actually, before I get more into family and stuff, I want to know a little bit more about the surgery and like what goes into that. Like how long do you think your recovery process is? What does your recovery process look like and whatnot?
So, from what they said, it's going to be 1 week of me not being able to do anything.
Mm.
And my doctor described it as you'll be in T-Rex mode because like your range of motion will be here.
Mhm.
So like, and then like they were like, okay, so, and he goes, what does that mean? And he goes, who's going to wash you? Who's going
Mm.
to
Help you,
wipe your butt?
yeah.
Who's going to, and it's just like, you're gonna have somebody to help you with these things for a
Mhm.
week.
Mhm.
And then after that week, you should be able to be self-sufficient and be able to do those things. Obviously with some soreness and stuff. And
Right.
then and then after that, it'll be up to like 6 weeks of altogether. It would be 6 weeks of no heavy lifting, um, and nothing more than 10 pounds.
Mhm.
And I also through this whole time will be living in a bra. So like I will have a bra on 24/7
Interesting.
the entire time to help them set and heal in the proper spots so they're not going to sag or they're not
Mm.
going to like be cockeyed or
Hmm.
you
Oh
know
God.
one's looking over there, one's looking over there.
That's funny. It's like the same thing as top surgery, but like just reversed. Like the recovery thing and recovery process and whatnot. The T Rex thing, 100% for like a week.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely need someone to help you out. Can't move, can't lift more than, I think it was 20 pounds or something for me. I think the doctor said. And then I think in about a month is where things start getting back to normal. I think for top surgery, is it the same for you?
Mm. Yeah, they like I'll still need to be after a month. The doctor said he wants me to be like pretty much living in a bra for until 3 months.
Mm.
But he said after a month, if I want to have a night on the town and I want to wear like a cute little bra or something, like then I can do that.
Slay, as it should.
So like, but how like they never told me, like I don't know yet for myself, but how quickly could you see your chest after surgery?
So I think it's different if you have drains or not. I think I had to wait 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
I completely did it wrong though. You're supposed to be like sitting down. I was fully standing in front of the mirror and like I was trying to be all like, I'm gonna look at this chest right now, and did it and completely fainted and threw up everywhere. So it was not like a cute moment for me. So yeah, like 3 or 4 days. But what about you?
Like I said, I don't know yet.
All
They
right, all right.
haven't they haven't told me how long, and so like, that's I mean that's the goal, right? Is
Right.
to see it. And so
Yeah.
like I'm just like, so now I'm just that's why I wanted to ask you so I could be like, okay, 3 or 4 days, maybe it'll be about the same. I
I would
can
think so. Maybe a week at most. But you have to shower. I don't think any doctor would let you go like a week without showering.
yeah,
Now I want to get into your coming out story a little bit. If you'd like to share that.
sure. I think so. When did I know I was trans? When I was 4 years old. No. Uh it started with me the first inkling that something was different was when I was 14. And I remember all through my childhood, like I was terrified of death and terrified of wasting my youth because it was always just like, youth is wasted on the young, youth is wasted on, and like I really internalized that and it really freaked me out. Like,
Oof.
yeah, like it was not healthy the way I
Mm-mm.
thought about it. Like to the point where like I remember be playing like hide and go seek and like be like hiding and like going, I should make a mental snapshot of this and like remember this good time
Oh
like
my
when I'm
god.
older. Like seriously, like it. That's how I was like, I need to, and I still remember that.
Yeah, I mean, hey, got the job done, I
But
guess.
and I say that because like so like time was very precious to me, like very much so. And I remember when I was 14, like and seeing the Lindsay Lohan Freaky Friday, and I was like, um, Lindsay was a few years older than me, and oh my god, I can't remember what the mom. I forget her name, but
Oh, I
like,
forgot her name too.
yeah, I should know this because she's a great ally. Um,
She is.
her kid is trans, and like,
Oh, she is. Oh my god, she's a
yeah,
trans
her
kid.
kid is trans, yeah, and
I
she is
never knew
so
that.
supportive, like, and I can't remember her name.
I'll throw up a picture of her right here, so we'll be
Okay,
good.
boom.
You're talking about the mom from Freaky Friday,
The
right?
Yeah, mom. And I remember like at 14, I was just like, oh, I would trade lives with either one, which was not too big of a deal with Lindsay Lohan, but like even for like the mom and being like, oh yeah, I would just give up all those years of my life to be like a 40-year-old woman right now
Mm.
when I was 14. That was a huge like thing for me when I thought about it and went, whoa, like I remember having like a moment like I would, yeah, no, I'd be totally comfortable with that. I'd give that up. That's fine.
Now, did you actually have a moment of like, okay, I want like, what does that mean if I want to be a 40-year-old woman?
um no, I just remember I was just fascinated with it.
Mm.
The idea that like I thought that, and then I used to try to, you know, then I would play a game with myself when I was younger and like try to be like, would I trade with that person? Would I trade with that person? Just trying to
Mm.
assume like with how many years I would be giving up and stuff and switching. Like that's how my brain was working.
Wow,
um,
that's
but
wild.
like, and I remember looking at men and going, nah, nah,
I
mm-mm,
never switch with
no.
you. But so, from what age? You said 14 was the first time.
14 was like the first like aha moment.
Mm.
I didn't know that um, I didn't know I was trans, so probably I was 25. Now, I didn't come out until I was 30.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Oh, 5 years.
5 years of being kind of like, I'm pretty sure I'm this, but like, I remember like, so I was with um, my ex-wife for 9 years and
Mm.
together like married for five. We got married and when I was 25. And I
Mm.
remember the day of my wedding looking in the mirror that morning and going, I'm gonna, and like I never like called it trans, but like I looked in my mirror and I said, I'm gonna put this like wanting to be a girl thing behind me. And I told myself that like the life that I have is pretty good. Like I'm a cis white straight male present, like
Mm.
I have like, a beautiful wife,
Mhm.
like that I love, and if nothing else, sees worth just staying this way because it's not that bad of a life. It's not bad, like whatever. I'll just,
Mhm.
and I told myself I'd just put all of it behind me, and
Wow.
that doesn't work.
No.
Uh, but I convinced myself and thought I could do it.
Mm.
Um, and she always identified as bisexual.
Mhm.
Um, and while we were together, and but even so, like the other thing was when I would look at myself in the mirror, I would be like, "There's no way I would pass." Like I
Mm.
looked at my old self and I was like, "There's no way I would pass, and I don't think I could do it if I couldn't pass." Um, and I'd be like just a guy in a dress, and like I didn't think I could do it, and I was just like, well, there's no way. Like, look at you. Like that was like my thing. It
Right.
was just like, look at you. Like you'll never pass, and so you might as well just be happy with what you got.
Mm. Good old
So,
gender dysphoria talking.
eh,
Now, at that time, did you like, were you quote unquote well versed in trans? Did you know about trans people at all, or like were you involved in any way with the community?
No, I was pretty uh I was pretty on board with gay people, and like I would in high school, I had friends that were, and like I was very much
Mm-hmm.
um like okay with that, and like big thing, but I was scared of trans people.
Mm.
Like, if I want to be entirely honest, I was scared. I felt like, now looking back, and kind of, it feels like someone was putting a like mirror to me when I would, if I were to see someone who like I thought was trans and stuff. And
Mm.
it wouldn't be that I like would, was like I hate them or anything, but it would just be like I felt uncomfortable.
Mm.
And I really think it was looking, having a mirror pointed at me. And
Oof.
and
That's
I
it.
didn't know too many, especially younger. And honestly, I didn't really know any up until I came out.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, you just see people every once in a while that might clock or
Right.
not.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it goes to show, like, there's no influence there. You know what I mean? You figured it out before you even understood what trans was, you know?
Right. Yeah.
That's interesting. So, from your wedding is when you were 25, right? Is when you kind of were like, okay, I'm probably a girl, but we're going to suppress the shit out of this.
Like, I should just be happy with what I have.
Mm. And then what happened after that?
Um, I started having um like, I mean, I was in love, and I loved my ex-wife. But I started having more and more anxiety attacks, more and more frequently.
Mm.
And I thought it was, again, that fear of death, because I had anxiety attacks ever since I was a kid.
Mm.
And some being very debilitating, where like I couldn't do anything, and they'd last for a long time, and it just felt like, I always described it as like a monster was chasing me, but like there's no monster, but like I was just like in that hyper, like,
Mm.
um and they would be rare when I was a kid. But about the time when I got married and stuff, they started becoming more frequent, to the point where and my depression got worse. Like, I got depressed,
Mm.
or I got diagnosed with it. So then that's when I started antidepressants, and having like anti-anxiety medication that I was
Mm.
taking regularly. And as the years went by, they got worse. And by the end of it, I was having like two debilitating panic attacks probably a month, and having little ones like weekly, that like
Mm.
I could kind of control, but still were having like issues.
Mm.
Um, and again, I just thought it was like a fear of death, because like it would always be tied with me thinking about me being, you know, um, getting older, and realizing, even like trying to look back at like happy things in my past, I'd be like, oh my God, that's been like 5 years ago, or that's been like 4 years ago. And then it would like set
Mm.
me off.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I hear that. Time
but
passing is scary.
yeah,
I get
um,
that.
when I came out though, um, it's like I've had maybe two in the past 3 years.
Mm.
Um,
Wow.
and like it got a little bit worse probably at the beginning of September. Is when I had like my second big attack, and then I was having like little ones again, and but like that was after 3 years of not having anything. And I kind of realized that I think the fear wasn't that I was afraid of death. I was afraid of dying a man.
Oof. Oof.
So, and like,
Yeah, to like go your whole life without being who you actually are on the inside, not letting
right,
that
yeah.
show on the outside. Yeah, no, that's every reason to have a panic attack. every reason.
Yeah.
Jesus. Now, after you figured that out, you figured that out all by yourself? That these were the reasons? Damn.
Yeah, and I mean with my therapist and stuff
Mm.
too. Um
Who was the first person you came out to?
ooh. I mean technically it was my ex-wife.
Mm-hmm.
Um we she was struggling with her sexual identity.
Mm-hmm.
Um like I said, she thought she was bisexual for, you know, the majority of her life and stuff. And then during 2020, she was realizing that she was a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
And so she, started having issues and wanted to learn about that. And so she started getting, therapy. And that's when I joined therapy, saying that, like, she wasn't really super upfront about what she was afraid to tell me that she thought she might be a lesbian,
Mm-hmm.
understandably so. And so she was just like, I think I need a therapist because of like COVID and stuff. And I said, yeah, because like, I have Crohn's disease and I wasn't working for 6 months and I was stuck in the house. I was taking it super seriously and I was freaking out. I had family members who died from it, and I was autoimmune compromised, so I was at a heightened risk of having issues with
Mm-hmm.
COVID. And
Scary.
so yeah, I was just stuck in the house. And so I was like, yeah, I need one too. And then, like, so hers quickly changed, or the whole reason of it was because he was, figuring out that she was lesbian. And mine quickly just changed to like, hey, I'm trans. By the way, like, I'm pretty sure I'm trans. This has nothing to do with the fact that I'm stuck in the house. That sucks. But like, also
Whole
like
different
this.
problem over here, by
Yeah,
the
yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we were both seeing therapists for, you know,
Mm-hmm.
two things, and she came out. Um, she did tell me that she was having some issues with her, identity, and we were talking about it. And this was October of 2020, and then I remember we took the dogs on a long walk, and we about tired them out because we were just talking about everything and talking about like um like mainly just about her and her trying to just figure out, because like I still wasn't, I was like, it was on the tip of my tongue but I didn't quite
Mm-hmm.
want to tell her.
Mm-hmm.
And so like we were mainly just talking about her sexuality and stuff and her going back and forth. And we got back to the house and we were sitting in the bedroom, and I just told her, I turned to her and I said, just say it. And she went, what? And I said, say it. And she goes, I'm a lesbian. And I just blurted out, like almost like I just blurted out, I'm trans.
Mm-hmm.
And she looked shocked and like, and I was just like, it's like, I am a trans lesbian. I said, and you're a lesbian. Do you think there's any way we could work out? And pretty quickly she said no.
Mm.
And that crushed me. And I asked, why don't you want to give it a try? And she said that she didn't think she could ever see me as a woman. And as long as I had a penis, she doesn't think she could do it anymore.
Okay, well, first of all, not a fun thing to hear. Sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah.
Not the thing to say to somebody when they first come out as trans. To say you will never be the gender you feel that you are is a horrible thing to say to somebody. And look, sexual preference is a thing, I guess. But like, I don't know. Right there, you had to say it. Like, I don't know. That should have been a moment for you. You know what I mean?
We we were together for 9 years
Mm,
at that point, and it was just like you didn't even want to try.
mm,
You didn't want to um give it give it a go. I felt like if the shoe was on the other foot and she was just like, and I was just like, hey, I'm gay, and she was just like, I'm a trans man, I'd be like, okay, let's see if we can make this work. At
Right.
least try.
Mm-hmm.
You never know, like, but at least try. Um, and because like it could very well that it didn't work, right?
Right.
And like general preference is a thing. I think like especially if you've had trauma with a certain body part,
Mm-hmm.
like
True.
clearly like that's a thing. But as someone who like I didn't know if I would be okay with penis.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been with some trans women, and I was like, oh, it's no big deal. It's just it's a different thing. Like it evolved, but like
Mm-hmm.
it's no big deal. Like for me,
Right.
um,
And 9 years with somebody, you'd
you
think
would
they'd
think,
have the same mindset. That's really hard. And I mean, I don't know. As you said, sexual preference is a thing, but like, when you love somebody, like I've always said being attracted to somebody is important in a relationship. I do
sure,
personally believe you have to be attracted to somebody in order to be with them, in order to be happy with them. But it's not the
hmm,
first thing. Like first comes personality and like all the ooey gooey shit, right? And I don't know, if you love somebody, you figure that shit out. And I'm not saying you have to stay with a trans person when they come out in the middle of your relationship, but like to not even try, like, I don't know.
yeah, and it, yeah, and I mean, turned out that she was already talking to a girl,
There it is. There it
and
is.
yeah, and she wasn't doing anything physically with this person, but she was already checked out in this other relationship that she was starting.
Mm. So then, at the end of the day, in just from an outside perspective, to me, that's very much giving you being trans wasn't even quote unquote the problem. Like she had already found somebody else. You know what I mean? And that's a whole other fucking story. That I could get into how that's not right. But do you think how long ago was that you guys stopped being together?
November of 2020
Remember 2020? Do you
is
think?
when I I ended up having to, because in October she came out, and then we were trying to be amicable and try to be, stay friends and be like, besties, and we had a house together, so we were just trying to be.
Mm,
But I didn't know about this other person. Um, and I also said, hey, if this isn't going to work, like I'm stuck in the house until there is, like please don't date anybody and put yourself at risk for me being high, like until there is, COVID is over or there's a vaccine. And at
period.
this point, they were saying 6 months. It only turned out to be 4 months
Mm,
before I ended up getting a vaccine
mm,
um, for COVID. But and part of me was, I mean that was true. I was scared of my safety, but also I thought it would give me time to maybe she could see who I really was, and maybe, and again, this is before I knew she was talking and seeing somebody.
mm,
And so she was like, no, I would never do that. I would never date anybody right now. I would never put you in harm. And then she started, once we were like separated, she started going on dates with this girl during COVID and putting me at risk, even though she said she wouldn't. Um, and I caught
solid.
her. Yeah. And I caught her doing it, and I kicked her out of the house.
As you should.
And yeah. And she just, for my safety. And then I served her the divorce papers, and got a special, like, I don't want to call it a restraining order, but it was a special, like, thing in place during COVID to where, like, because it's for my safety, she wasn't allowed to come to the house at all unless I gave her permission.
Mm.
to, and it had to be written permission. It could be a text, but it had to be like a written permission, and she would only have that time frame to do it.
Mm.
So then, like, to come and get her stuff and that.
I didn't know that was a thing. There's so many people I wish I could have done that with. The fuck? Damn.
Um, just to make sure that she wasn't just coming back whenever she wanted to and put me at,
Yeah.
risk.
Do you still have like contact with her at all? No.
No,
Good.
no.
Fuck that.
I last year I thought she was gonna go back to Ohio. Her whole family was there. She always talked about going back to Ohio. Um, and last year at Pride was my first Pride that I went to, and I saw her,
Mm.
and I got within like 10 yards of her, and before I noticed her, and I mean, first she she didn't look that great, which was like uh which made me kind of go, oh, okay. And the other thing is, like, she was looking and combing through like the crowd, like she was looking for, like, I don't know, her friends that she came with,
Mm.
and she looked at me and then kept looking. She didn't recognize me.
Oh my
She
god.
just saw me as just another girl in the crowd. The person who told me that she would never see me as
Yup.
a woman
Yup. Oh
just saw,
my
and that
god.
I was floating, because
Mm-hmm.
because like I would know if she noticed me. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like, you would know. Like,
Right.
we all, like, yeah. It's like, and no recollection. And
The
then there was another
irony.
time she was walking with, like, I guess her girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and they walked by me and my two friends, who one of them is so close I call my sister. So I was sitting there with, like, my sister,
Mm-hmm.
and like my sister was like mean mugging her because, like, I pointed her out, and like I remember, like, we were just sitting there watching, and she walked right by us, no recollection. Like, it was just like, I was floating. I was just like, okay, all
That's
right.
so funny. Dude, talk about euphoria. Like,
It's one of the highlights for sure.
yeah. Like, usually, like, I mean, I feel like for any cis person, if their ex of 9 years didn't recognize them, it would be really sad. But like for us, it's like, okay, I'm doing well
It's
in
like,
my transition
yeah,
then.
it's like, if they couldn't recognize
Right.
me,
Yeah.
someone who was so intimate, like, for 9 years, like,
Mm-hmm.
fucking
Wow.
slay.
Yeah. Honestly, even better, you didn't have to have like an awkward situation or anything either.
Yeah,
So that's good. That not good that all that happened, but good that
sure. But
you're
I won the breakup, so it's
period.
whatever. Yeah,
Period.
period.
Now, how about the rest of your family and loved ones?
So, after I came out with to my ex,
Mm-hmm.
and we were trying to be amicable and stuff, like, I didn't come out right away to everyone else,
Mm-hmm.
um, until things got bad, with me and my ex, and it kind of got ugly, you know, um, and once everything was coming to light about what she was doing and stuff, and kicking her out, and she was, very angry about being kicked out of her house, which, you know, but I was afraid she was going to tell people. She was the only one that knew, and I was afraid she was going to try to beat me to the punch, and I wanted to be the one to tell people, like, it's my fucking story, it's my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt at that point like I was, like, kind of felt forced to tell my family,
Mm.
a little bit.
That's not fun.
Um, yeah, so I called up my mom, and my parents are still together, but, like, I called my mom,
Mm-hmm.
and the going into this, I thought I might lose them. They're devout Catholics and stuff, and I thought I have a biological sister who I thought would have my back
Mm-hmm.
and would be like, I'm like, well, she got me, like, so at least I'll have that. Um, but oh, I should say like the first person I came out to was like my friend Kyle. He was the first person outside of my ex that I came out to. He's my buddy. I've known him since I was 14,
And Kyle took
and
it well.
oh, he took it so well.
Let's go, Kyle. Let me
He
get a round of applause for Kyle. I mean, come on.
like he was shocked. Everyone that I came out to was totally shocked. Like there was no one that was going, "Oh, that makes sense." Like, yeah, we knew. No one ever said that to me. It was always this like really shocked and like, I remember like Kyle was just like, hey, he's like, I don't know anything about trans people or that, but he's just like, as far as I understand, like you're still going to be you. He's like, you're still going to be that hilarious person that I know. He's just like,
Period.
so it's no
Why is
big
that
deal.
so hard to understand? Like, I love that.
Yeah, and like, and so like he was just like, and he took it so well that like then it was like, okay, I'll tell my parents.
Right.
Because like I knew like if like I was pretty damn positive that Kyle was going to be on my side, so I was just like, I'll tell him, and then I told my parents, and so when I called my mom, um I was like, hey, there's something I need to tell you, and I started crying, and then she was like automatically like in protective mode, like what happened, what happened, and I told her that I was trans, and she didn't know what that really was,
Mm-hmm.
and I told her that I'm a woman, and um, they didn't take it super well at first. I will say that like my mom is now like my one of my biggest supporters,
Slay.
and like we love mom, and she went to therapy. She like learned all about it. She is now like just like very strong A+ ally.
Good.
But at first she was under the impression that my ex-wife like it was some kind of crazy reaction. They thought like, and both of them thought that this was um some kind of crazy scheme I was doing to keep my wife. Oh, she came out as a lesbian. Okay, I'll be a girl then. Like we
Yeah.
still good? We still good.
I had a feeling someone in your life probably said that when you told me that your ex-wife was coming out as
yeah.
lesbian.
Yeah, so they were just like, it's like, oh, so you're just trying to keep her, and I'm just like, no, 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 this predates her,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and this is just, and they're just like, but they, and then I remember like talking to my dad, and my dad, literally, when I told him, like, um, face to face. And I was just like, because my mom wasn't going to tell him. Like, she was just like, well, you'll have to, let him know. So, like, I came over and told him. And, I said, what do you think? And I remember he, like, kind of, like, he goes, you know what I think? And he stood up and he goes, I think she fucked you up. And, like, he did, like that. And he goes, I think she fucked with your head. And I just kind of, like, just stood there where I was sitting and he was like standing, and I was like okay, well, no. This predates that. And
It's also like half offensive that somebody could think that we would go to those lengths just to keep somebody, just to be in a relationship. Like, no.
Right.
I love
It's
myself first, actually. That's the whole point here.
And also, like, no longer with her, haven't been with her in 3 years, and oh look, I'm still doing it. So weird. It's like, what a long con I'm playing. It's like, no, the long con was me being a boy for 30 years. That was the long con.
Exactly. You think I'm playing pretend now? No.
Yeah, and just because I was like good at acting like a man, that where like no one knew, like doesn't mean that was the real me. This is the real me. This is how I've always wanted to be.
Period.
So
the dads are always always fun to come out to. My dad had a very similar reaction too. And it's not fun. It's not fair because like coming out, like those are the, like, I don't know. You just told me you came out to 4 people and only one of those people had a good reaction, and those stories are going to be with you for the rest of your life. So like as a whole, like maybe we should just think about, even if you don't like agree with trans people and how we live our lives, whatever, like maybe if you don't want to ruin somebody's fucking life, like maybe you should just be like, okay, happy for you, gotta go though, because I don't agree. Like it's as simple as that. Like, I don't know. Pisses me off.
So, I mean, yeah, and I wasn't going to like I'm gonna like tell them about this, like, and like if they want to watch it, it's I'm sure they will. And if they have a problem with how I'm telling how it happened. And if
Mm-hmm.
you don't like it, that's because you don't like the way you did this. Like,
Period. I have to
like
say that exact sentence to myself all the time because I get up on here and I'll be telling a lot of stories about my mom and my dad, and like then I'm like, fuck, like should I cut that out? Like, are they gonna be really offended? I don't know if I should put this on the internet. I don't want them to feel bad. I'm like, hold on. I'm
I'm
telling
not
it
putting
because they've
names.
made me feel bad. Like,
Sure.
and like, yes, they're better now, of course, and I appreciate it. But like, you shouldn't have done it if you don't want the world to know. You know what I mean?
hmm And also, like, I'm not putting any names out there.
Right.
Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I'm not trying to put them on blast, but I am telling my experience.
It's your
This is
story. Yeah.
what was said to me. This is how they said it.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad still struggles. He for 3 years, like, he tried to just kind of like ignore that it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't want to be. It came out that he didn't want to be seen in public with me.
Mm.
Um, and I basically got him to admit it just because he kept skipping like my birthdays. Oh, I had to stay home for the dogs. Oh, I had I'm just like, oh, okay. And then like I would see him at like the same restaurant that I was trying to have my birthday dinner, like with like him and like my nephews and my sister and stuff. And I'm like, okay, so you found time there. Cool.
That's so hurtful.
And after the second year of him doing that, I was just like, I confronted him about it, and he told me that he was, and he's afraid that people from his work will see me and like it will get back, and he would have to deal with that. And
Jesus.
um,
You.
yeah.
Mm.
So
Mm.
even though they already know he has a daughter, so who's to say that I'm not just that daughter? They don't,
Right.
like, but but he did like after that came out, and that was like before Father's Day, and so like I did not wish him a happy Father's Day, and that hurt him. And I was just like, well, like my mom tried to be like, he is your father and he was good to you for all your life. And I said he was good to me for 30 years of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when things didn't go as he planned for, his son,
Mm-hmm.
um he got shitty.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, so why? It's like, I'm not going to lie and say, oh, happy Father's Day, you're the best dad ever, when
For
you're not
real.
being.
Yeah.
It's like when it's conditional love. Like, you just loved me for who you wanted me to be and not who I actually am. And so, like, that was the boundary. I was just like, okay, like, I'm not going to try to change you, but I'm also not going to interact with you. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that hurt him. And then he started to try more. And to his credit, my grandma was always terrible. She still is terrible at pronouns. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think like she's nice to me, but I don't think she'll ever see me as a woman just because of how often that she like messes up with pronouns and things. And so I always correct her. I always correct her. Um, and before I could correct her one time, my dad corrected her,
Mm-hmm.
and so that was a big moment for
Oh,
like my dad.
that is a big moment.
And I noticed that. And then he did go out to a restaurant when I invited my mom out, and my mom's like, hey, dad wants to go too. And I said, okay. Because like my whole stance is like my door is always open. I'm just done trying to shepherd them through the door. So if they want to come through willingly on their own, okay. But like I'm done. It's been 3 years of me trying to bring them in. Like,
Mm.
so he's trying.
I tried hard
And,
at that.
you know,
I love that. This is exactly what I did.
yeah.
And like you, the fact that, you know, your dad, even my dad too, like they were afraid to be in public with us and like be around us and like cope with those feelings. Like it just goes to show like what trans people actually have to go through, because like you think you're afraid, you think you're scared, like try being the one who's
Yeah.
trans.
Mm-hmm.
Like
When I first came out and I was like, and I wasn't even passing, but I wanted to, I was wearing like women clothes and stuff, and I was just like, I was afraid to even like open the front door and walk out. Like even when no one, like I could look and no one was around, or like go to the mailbox and like get my mail. And like it it was a lot. And now like, I'm in dresses like right now, and like it's whatever. Like it's no big deal anymore. But like especially, but it never goes away. Like I still am looking, and every time someone stares at me or that, I'm just like, do they know I'm trans? Or are they staring at me because they think I'm cute? Or are they staring at me because like I have something on my face? I don't know.
that's just a constant thing for trans people too. Do you think that now that like since you've been on hormones for a while now, and like do you think because you're passing very well now, like has that helped your relationship with your dad in any way, and like being in public with him? That's how it
I
went for me and my
mean,
dad.
it 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 shouldn't.
Yeah.
Um it shouldn't matter at all. You should just love your kid, whatever. But
Mm.
like, um, I think that's probably what made him go out to dinner with me that time, was because like I think he realizes that like even though maybe he can't see it, that like the world like
Mm-hmm.
effortlessly sees me as a girl. So
Mm-hmm.
like, for the most part, and it's just like, like it's all in his head that like I am still like, a
Mm-hmm.
guy, just like it's in my head that I'm,
Right. Yeah.
still like manly.
It's just hurtful because it's like as if you're fucking basing your supportiveness for your child is based on other people. Like that blows my mind because my dad did
Hmm.
the exact same thing. He wasn't very supportive until he found like other people supporting me. It's like, oh, cool. So you're just following everybody else's lead here, and you're my dad. Cool. Got
Great,
it.
great. Best dad award.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Um, my sister and I, like my biological sister, the one I thought was gonna be like my cheerleader, but like the
Mm-hmm.
one person in my family it has been the worst to me.
Oh fuck.
Yeah. She is she's also devout Catholic. She's a Catholic school teacher.
That'll do it.
Um, and she I have two nephews, and I haven't seen them in 2 years.
Mm.
Um, I haven't been allowed to see them in 2 years.
Oh, I'm gonna try really hard not to be really angry for you right now.
Yeah, so for the first year of my transition, when I was still like, I could do boy mode, and still like look like my old self, and that like my sister was just like, well, if you want to come as, if you want to come as dead name,
Mm-hmm.
you certainly can. Um, and I don't even know why I'm saying like, it doesn't bother me. My dead name is Corey, so like,
Hey, kind of similar to mine.
hey, okay, and like, so I was just like, they're like, if you want to come as Corey, like, then that's fine. You can come to our like family gatherings and stuff, but like, I don't want the kids to see you as Tori, and um, like, it was just like, okay. Well, at first I was like, okay. And I was doing it because like I wanted to see, the nephews. But when you're there and everyone's using the wrong pronouns for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it hurts. Like when it didn't hurt before transitioning, as soon as you come out, like it they're wounds. And I
Mm-hmm.
can't describe because you're like, well, you were always trans. Yes, I was always trans, but like I don't know, once you become fully aware and your egg fully cracks, like,
Right.
you
Because
can't go back.
right, because once you come out, it's like, okay, like now everybody knows. Now I can start thinking about this more and like become who I want to be and show the world who I am. And then you get misgendered, and it's like, guess am I doing this for no reason? Like, fuck, like, am I
Yeah.
making a huge mistake? It puts so many thoughts in your head. I always thought of it as like every time. I think everybody has a different feeling when they get misgendered, but I always felt like somebody was stabbing me in the throat with a knife because I couldn't
Wow.
speak. I know, gruesome, but like I always felt like I could not speak, and I that's why I never fucking corrected anybody because you'd
Mm.
misgendered me, and I'd just be like, okay, like it sucks.
It always felt like death by a thousand cuts for me. There were just
Oof.
little cuts that would build up over time. The more people would do it, the more that inner voice that says, "Oh, you'll never pass.
Mm,
Like you'll never do this." Like they're only gonna see a guy. They're that voice that gets stronger the more
mhm,
cuts you get. So the more times people misgender you, the more times they stumble. It's just like they add up, and that voice gets stronger. That
right.
like at least for me. But so after I did that for a few times, I told my sister, I was like, I can't do boy mode anymore.
Good.
I can't. Like I'm either it's like I have to be me. And she said that, well, then I don't want you seeing the kids because what she said is that she is afraid that the kids are going to tell the wrong people, like whether it be parents or whether it be other kids and stuff, and that those kids might bully them because I am trans, which is
Mm.
mm,
Okay, but
don't agree.
with the correct parenting, these things can be, taught, and you could use certain tools to make sure that doesn't happen. Like, uh, that's a sad excuse, to be honest.
It really is. And then she goes into, like, she has mentioned before about like how, the town that she lives in is very small and everybody talks and stuff. So then it really comes to like, it's like, are you afraid for your kids to get bullied, which I'm sure is a part of it, but are you also afraid of having to deal with the fact that, your sister is trans
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
yeah.
people knowing and that affecting because you work at a bigoted, place.
Mm-hmm. Using your
Um,
kids as like a excuse to say that
yeah, like
you're
just
transphobic.
throwing it all on that. And I don't think it's all that. I think that's a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that she thinks that's a part of it, but I also think she's also afraid of her own career and things, being a teacher and trying to move up.
But like, why? She's not trans. Like,
No.
and I'm sorry, but if somebody at your work gives you a hard time because your sister is trans, like, why are you working there? Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Yeah.
So needless, we don't really talk. Like at all. We tried to be like she would invite me out to be like, oh, it's just me and her husband and myself like going out to dinner and
Mhm.
like or that and just to try to keep up, but like no kids or anything. And so the entire time I am with her, there's just this giant elephant in the room where I'm just like, and at first I was just like, well, I'll just play nice and I'll be nice, and maybe after a few times of this, they will realize it's no big deal
Mhm.
and they will, let me see the kids because like I'm missing all this time. They,
Mhm.
like they're now, like 10 and 13, and like, I'm like I was in their life
Right.
every other weekend, going to all their games, and then now like, I'm just too busy. I don't know what the narrative really is,
Right.
like that they're saying, but like I'm not going to sit there and like jump in front of my nephews and be like, "Hey, I'm your aunt." Like,
Right.
like
To me, that's 10 times more confusing to a kid to not understand why their aunt is no longer there. Like, if I was a kid in that situation, and I'd be like, "What's mom? What's happening? Where did they go?" Like, I don't. Mm, people
and
don't
they have
understand.
asked in front of my mom, and they've like, so they've been like, "Oh, they'd be like, "Hey, Uncle Corey lives around here. Like, like it's like I haven't seen them in forever. Like, it's like, do you think like what are they doing?" And like my mom would just sit there and be like, "Well, ask your mother." Like my mom saying that to like, my sister, because I told my mom to be like Switzerland, not to get involved because my sister will
Right.
use those kids as blackmail and basically not allow my mom to see them anymore either. So I'm like, I don't want you to lose the time that I've lost with these
Right.
kids. So just, try to be as neutral as possible. But like my mom will do like, yeah, just ask your mother, ask your mother. And then like they ask her. And then like at that particular time, like my sister would just ignored their question and just moved on. Didn't even explain it, didn't even like give up a like bullshit excuse or anything. Just ignored the fact that these kids are asking about me.
Great parenting
And
skills. Great
yeah,
parenting skills. Like,
it's great.
look,
And
like,
like,
I can tell you right now, like, even if, they're living in a very Catholic family, very religious family, in a Republican red state, like, that is a different generation. You said they're 10 and 13 now. That is a
mhm,
very, very different generation. They are so exposed to trans people on the internet and at school and everywhere else. Like, no matter where they go in life, they will be exposed to trans people. They will know that their aunt is trans, no matter if they talk to their aunt or not. And they will have more questions. And instead of going to their mother who won't tell them anything, they'll go to you. Like, they'll find you and they'll go to you. You know what I mean? So
I
at the end
hope
of the
so.
day,
Well,
she's losing. You're winning. That's all I have to say.
and you say that, and on Snapchat, my oldest nephew friended me,
Hmm.
like, and not like my old Snapchat or anything,
The
like
new one with the
the
new
new one.
name. Yeah.
And like, cause I guess I pop up as like, oh, people in your contacts, and
Hmm.
like he just added, and so I added back. I haven't talked to him
Hmm.
at all. I'm just sitting here like, well, just wait to see if he comes to me or gets curious. But I'm like, it's not that hard for him to kind of go, hey, this person has the same number as my uncle did.
Hmm.
And it's just like,
Right.
and it's a very similar name and
Hmm.
also the same last name. And it's just like, like,
I'm sure. Do you think that they know that you're trans now, or do you think
I
they have
think
no
they're,
idea?
I think they're putting it together.
Yeah, they have to.
I
I
think,
mean,
I mean, with just the fact that he friended me like that, like,
right,
I feel like they're starting to put it together. They're not stupid.
right. And no matter how much you try to hide trans people from kids, it's not going to work. Not going to
Yeah.
work. They have the internet. They have TikTok. I mean, come on. Like, and because of that, they're learning a hell of a lot better than we did, than the generation before you, before me, whatever did. Like, I don't know. I feel like the generation below me is even more less transphobic than mine. You know what I mean?
I
I don't know.
mean, it depends on the parenting and stuff, and they
True.
go
Yeah.
to a Christian school, and
Right.
I worry about it.
For sure. I would too. I mean, look, I think that's a very cruel thing to do to somebody, to take away somebody's niece or nephew. Like, my nephew is not even 2 years old yet. And, like, obviously, I've said it before, my sister is my biggest supporter. And she would never do that. But, like, if she did, you're not winning. Like, you're not doing anything by that. You're taking, like, uh, an aunt or an uncle away from your kid. That's all you're doing. Like, somebody who can give them life experience and, like, tips and advice. Like, all you're doing is taking that away from your kid. And to me, that's horrible parenting. So congrats, I guess.
Yeah. I agree.
Now, we've spent a lot of time on that, and I'm happy about it because I think that was one of the best coming out stories. I think the way you described everything, I was able to relate to it so well, so I'm happy about it. But if the next topics go a little fast, everybody knows why.
Yeah.
But now, I could tell by your headset and your gaming chair before you even had to tell me that you're a gamer, and I love it.
Mm.
What games do you play, by the way? I never even asked you.
Oh God, I have so many. Um, right now, I just got back into Apex
Oh,
Legends.
you're a gamer then. Okay, got
Uh,
it.
and mainly because like my girlfriend also like has that game, so like we started to play.
Mm.
And then like uh, I've been doing Sea of Thieves.
Bestie, oh my god, I fucking love
You
that
play Sea
game.
of
Hell
Thieves?
yeah, I play Sea of Thieves.
Yes, we need to play.
Oh, please, that
So
game, mwah, beautifully made. Do you ever use like voice chat in Sea of Thieves and like Apex and stuff?
yeah,
Like talk to other
always.
people.
Yeah.
Now, how has that been throughout your transition? Actually, I have a question. Yeah, I have a question from the Discord from Anthony. What was it like to transition as a gamer? If you used voice chat before, during, or after your transition, how were you treated by the people you played with?
Yeah. So I've always used voice chat.
Mm,
Um and uh before no issue,
right.
none. And then after I came out and like when I was learning like voice training and stuff and I like the voice wasn't like very good,
Mm,
um like that was rough because a lot of people would just assume because like I would still have the same inflections and the same way I talk like as soon as I came out, but like it was at a lower register, so they just thought I was like a flamboyant gay man,
mm,
and then that hurt because then they would just sit there and like yell,
mm,
F word at
mm.
me and like just call me a little gay boy and stuff, and like that hurt because I was just like I'm trying to do a voice, I don't
Right.
want to be perceived as man.
Right.
So like and it took me God, it took me like over a year of like working on my voice like to get it to where it is now.
Hmm.
And that's probably the hardest thing of my transition, to try to get that. I even remember at my work, like I was helping a lady and her kid goes, "Mom, why does she sound like a boy?"
That
And then the
hurts.
mom was trying to like and get it quiet, but like that crushed me.
Smack. Yeah, like I don't blame
So
you.
like, but like I mean with video games and stuff, yeah. And then like now, um, I don't know. It's like most of the time guys are like usually you're playing with guys, and so like anytime I hear like another girl, like I get excited because then I just want to like, oh, we should be friends, like we should play together.
Hmm.
But you know, most of the time you're playing with guys, and I think for the most part, no one like anymore like says anything. But then you have those creepy guys that just want like,
Hmm.
oh, it's a girl, and then they start like saying inappropriate things, and they want things, and like they just like and they start asking inappropriate like, oh, do you have a OnlyFans that I can look you up on, and blah blah blah, blah. And it's just like, okay, all right, I don't, and and gross. For the most part, I'm just on Discord talking to my friends, like
Right.
we're just talking on Discord, and then like I'll peep up every once in a while. But like you get, I don't know, like as much as like I'm a lesbian, don't like men, but like in that way. And like but I still want their validation. I
Mm,
crave it because that's like it means that like I'm passing, it gives me like the euphoric feeling, like so like I do still crave it. Like
mm.
even though like and it's such a weird feeling to be in that you still crave the attention of men even though like I don't want to be with a man.
Right. Yeah, because from from a society standpoint, like I hate it, but like cis men are, I guess, the ones who, and this is not true, but like the ones who determine what makes a girl pretty and like, shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even I do. As a cis man, I need the validation. As a cis man, I just called myself a cis man.
I was like,
It's my worst nightmare. Anyway, as a trans man, I definitely crave cis male validation for sure. I need them to tell me that I'm doing it right, even though there's no right way to do it. You know what I mean?
mm-mm.
Fuck that. I get
I
it though.
do love how you call yourself like, oh, I get into like girly pop area, and I'm just like, I love that. To me, that's just like that's someone who's so like secure with like it comes off as being very secure with your masculinity that you can still do that. Because I was terrified of doing that before. I
Mm,
never even said the word cute. I would like keep myself from saying that word because that's the or no.
mm-hmm,
And like anything that like to do with like being like perceived as gay as any way and like those things like that was something that was like absolutely not, which is why like everyone was just so shocked because I was so like
mm-hmm.
like
Right.
to everyone else it was just like "Rah, man rah."
Mm-hmm.
So
You suppress the things. You know what I mean? Like it, and I appreciate you saying that because it took me a long time to be okay with being girly pop. But talking about gaming a little bit, I want to talk about this with you. I have been wanting to talk about this fucking game since the very first episode of HRT. And you'll see if you looked in my notes for every episode that I have, this topic is always there. And then I never get to it. Now, I don't know if everybody remembers when Hogwarts Legacy came out, but I do. And
true.
there was a lot of controversy over the game. And if it was transphobic to play because, J.K. Rowling is transphobic, way more than transphobic, actually. She's a terrible person. Um,
100%.
and, Harry Potter and stuff like that. There was, I remember it was right before like our first episode dropped of HRT where that was, you know, a huge uproar if, you were transphobic to play the game or not. And I want to start off by saying I have friends who played the game. I don't think those friends are transphobic. I don't think necessarily you are transphobic if you played the game. But there are things that go into it. Do you have any specific feelings about this game right now before I go on one of my stupid fucking tangents?
um I have a couple friends who play it who are like just you know again hugest supporters,
Mm-hmm.
supported me from the beginning
Right. Yeah.
and everything. And if you want to play it, play it. Like I'll go into like why, but go ahead and
Yeah. See, like I have friends who played who I love me dearly and would never be transphobic towards me ever. And I think that the problem lies where, because a lot of people who played the game went into playing the game thinking J.K. Rowling had nothing to do with it. And while that's true, she didn't like help create the game or anything. She did make fucking billions on that game. Like, and it did kind of bother me when I learned, like, that she was making money off of it. I heard people be like, "No, she's not making jack shit off of it," and I was like, "Oh, but that's what I thought." But she's literally making so much money, and then she uses that money to create laws to take gender affirming care away from trans people, and that's where I'm like, okay, maybe we don't buy the game. Like, that's where I kind of get a little. I wish this game wasn't so popular, but then I also can't blame people for wanting to play. I have friends who loved Harry Potter and like was talking to somebody last night about it. Like, they said that game saved my life. Like, that game saved my life. That, I mean, not the game, but the storyline behind Harry Potter and like the books and the movies. Like, there were,
the fandom.
I get it. Like, it saved lives. I get it. So like, it's hard to say if it was transphobic or not. It's just, I don't know. It's a tough argument. It really is.
Here's here's what I'll say about it. When it comes to all the Harry Potter stuff, like
Mm,
this game or it's like anything, this is coming from someone who, like, I've seen all the movies and I know I'm a Hufflepuff, like, but like that's about all I know. Um, and but what I will say is she is a billionaire, billionaire with a B. Her money, like, people don't quite understand it because, like, the large numbers, but when you hit $1 billion and more, um, your money makes so much money on interest that, like, you can't hurt them. You can't hurt them. So, like, if you are like, oh, um I'm not going to support anymore, and if everybody was just like, you know what, it's like, fuck her, and just like, we're going to stop paying her every time, it's not going to change anything. She's still going to be making tons of money off the interest. She's still going to be spending the same amount of money on these anti-trans, like, causes that she has, and it won't change her life at all. Like, I understand, like, boycotting things that you can actually, like, hurt and stuff, but you can't. So to me, it's like, well, what can you do? Yeah, one of the things that I did when I first came out, my very first makeup bag was a Harry Potter bag. And the thing is, it was just like, well, fuck you. It's like, JK, thanks for your support.
Right.
Thank you for supporting me right now and holding all of my stuff for this trans girl. Thank you. And so to me, it's like, we can't hurt her financially, and we can't stop her for whatever she's saying, but we can try to turn her stuff kind of like what, like, the gay community did with, like, the Babadook, where it's just like, not that, like, the Babadook was ever, like, negative, but it was like accidentally, like, Netflix accidentally put it in, like, the gay section in Netflix, and then people were just like, okay, gay icon, the Babadook, and we just, like, took it.
Right.
Like, that's what I'm saying about Harry Potter. Let's just take it and make it such a queer icon, and that will piss her off. If it becomes this thing that, like, stands for, like, trans people and, like, gay people, and, like, and we just take it and just, like, turn it. It'll be like what, like, how the Christians feel about like the rainbow. Oh, they took the rainbow. That was the gift from God. And now, like, the gays are using it. And it's like, but now if you ever put a rainbow on your stuff, everyone's just going to assume that you're gay.
True.
Like, just flat out, like, that's the inception. So you can sit there and be like, no, this is because of God. I'm wearing this because of God, because God gave this. It was this promise to man. No one's gonna.
No, yeah.
Everyone sees this earring and go, okay,
Yeah.
that chick's gay.
Right.
Like, like.
That's a good way to see it and handle
just
it.
try to. It's like, if we can get people to just take it and make it, like, against her, like, that's how you get back at her. You just turn, like, Harry Potter into this big queer thing.
Right.
Like,
I'm for it. I'm hella for it. I don't think I could ever get mad at anybody for, buying Harry Potter merch. I've bought Harry Potter merch for my friend.
Yeah.
Like, I could never be mad at that. Like, it's just, but I do think trans people are allowed to be mad about it. Like, I'm mad.
Of course.
I'm mad that she's a billionaire. I'm mad that she's putting all of her money that she gets into making trans lives harder. And a lot of people think that she's just on Twitter, like, sharing her shitty little opinions. Like, that's not it. Like, she's actually, like,
it's more.
Yeah, like, she's actually out here trying to create laws and shit. And, like, that's scary. And, like, I don't want to give my money to that. But also, it also goes into, like, okay, if I think that way, if I think nobody should be giving their money to J.K. Rowling, okay, what about Chick-fil-A? What about Twitter? Like, I've used Twitter, and Elon Musk is a piece of hot garbage. Like, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of gay people out there that eat from Chick-fil-A. I don't eat from Chick-fil-A, but I love Chick-fil-A sauce. So, like, I have to be held accountable for that. Like,
I also love Chick-fil-A sauce, and I ate Chick-fil-A like 2 weeks ago. Not like I typically I don't. Like, I don't eat it. That's just like, and again, because that's just my personal thing. And again, with Harry Potter too, if you want to personally, like, boycott it because it makes you feel good, do it. If it personally makes you feel good, just don't judge other people.
Right.
Because, but, like, if you feel like, hey, I'm just not going to support it, good, don't do it then. And that's how I am with Chick-fil-A. and like, so I just don't support it. However, like, my grandma really wanted Chick-fil-A, and like I was with her and my mom, and so it was just like, okay, we'll go.
Right.
But I made sure, like, I always have like my little rainbow thing, so I had that like pulled up, and I'm sitting there like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'll have like the gay chicken with like,
Sprinkle some rainbow on there for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. I think that's valid. I mean, like, there's some days where I'm like, yeah, fuck Hogwarts Legacy and fuck J.K. Rowling, fuck Harry Potter. Like, I have my days. I won't lie. But if I'm gonna be mad at that, I have to be mad at the rest of the world, because I know there's so many fucking companies out there that I use and buy from where the owners are definitely the most transphobic people out there. But yeah, I mean, like, if you live that way, you're never gonna enjoy life because everyone's dick. But you're allowed to be mad at it, is my opinion. I'm gonna read now some questions from viewers that I put in the Discord.
Okay.
We wanted to talk about, misogyny and transphobia a little bit, but I think we covered that in everything
Yeah,
that we talked about.
agreed.
Now, let me see. Some of these questions are a little out of order since I skipped. We'll just start with this one, since it has to do with misogyny and whatnot. Discord question from Midnight Thoughts in the Discord said, could she talk about the difference of how she was treated before and after transitioning in the women are treated this way and men are treated that way type of sense?
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things for me is like I hate being like interrupted. It's like a pet peeve of mine, and now that happens constantly.
Yeah.
That's like, it's a constant thing where people just talk over me, and then or they'll restate something that I just said. And it's like, I just said that. Cool. All right. Um, so that's something where like before that was never really an issue.
Right.
Um, you know, uh, Talking about, um, like guys are creepy towards me. And like I've had a guy like, come up and reach over me to grab something, and then like, put his hand on me in some way.
Icky.
And it's just like, that wasn't necessary. Don't touch me. And then like try to like talk to me, or, and like I don't know, like those things where they just think they have like free access to just touch the swell of my back as they walk by, or like, it's just
Nasty.
like,
Oh, that shit makes
yeah,
me.
don't. Yeah. So a lot of that, and um like that, those have been the big ones that I've noticed that have just been like, eye opening. You hear about it happening. Like, I always knew it was happening. I believed the women in my life that said that these things were happening, but like, you don't realize how much privilege I had before until now. Like, do you feel the opposite? Do you feel the privilege like
Oh,
coursing through your veins now?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I
Okay.
hate that it feels good. Like, I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it. But it's the case. And I wish being aware of it made it better. Like, I wish I looked better somehow by being aware of it, but I don't. Like, I don't know. And I said it in one of the episodes, but like, it's absolutely ridiculous that just because I pump myself with hormones every week means that I get treated better than a woman, trans or cis. Disgusting.
And I pump myself with hormones to be treated worse.
Yeah.
Yay.
And you think this is a choice?
Yeah, seriously.
I have another one from Sky Knight. How is it having to learn makeup and stuff like that later than some cis women?
When I read this question too, I kind of laughed because like I've been putting on makeup since I was 14.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is that I think that's kind of the norm, but like the frequency was like, because for the longest time I thought I was like, oh, maybe I'm just a cross dresser, and like I kind of was just like, that was it. So like anytime I was left alone, I would get into my sister's clothes, I would get into my sister's makeup, my mom's makeup, and like I would practice, and it would be bad. It would be bad, and it'd be very few and far between, like, and I'd look like some like Picasso painting of just trying,
Right.
and like, but like I would do it every time, and then like I learned to like, oh, I need makeup wipes because water doesn't really get rid of it. After like one time, my mom like going, "Is this like, are you tired?" And I said no, and she's just like, "Cause you have dark circles," and it was because I still had like mascara that I couldn't quite get rid of, and I was just like, yeah, I'm just tired. And I just like ran into my room, like, and then I was just like, oh god, and then like when I knew the coast was clear, like I went back into the bathroom and was like really like going at it with this water, and I said, oh no. So then I bought like my own makeup wipes and would hide them in my room and like bring them out to like,
Wow.
so like, but over time, like the more I got left alone, the more I would try. When I was, and when I was married and I was like, oh, I left all that stuff behind me, I was still dressing up in my wife's clothing. I was, but no, I left it behind me. I had that moment in the mirror and I left it all. No, I didn't. But like, and I would look at YouTube was a huge thing of like, learning from, different women. How to do your makeup. Also, I started painting miniatures for like D&D and stuff. And the entire time I was painting the little miniatures, I was like, this is also secretly training. This gets me better at a steady hand.
That's
Like,
awesome.
like I always knew that, but again, I'm not trans. No, it's just like, but just in case I ever wanted to get better at makeup,
Of course.
like knowing that, like, but still not fully going, I'm trans. Like,
The signs that we see and come to us that we all just completely ignore is just never gets old to me.
and the biggest one too, like since I was 14, like every time I saw a shooting star, like the few times that I did, I would be like, I wish I was a woman.
Oh, girly.
And that was the only thing that I would wish every time, but not trans. I'm not trans. It's fine. It's fine. It's whatever. No, that's what all guys wish for, right?
That's probably the biggest tell I've ever heard a guest say. Like,
And I was just like, yeah, this is fine. This is adorable.
oh, that's too good. Well, you got your wish. Congratulations.
I did. Thank you. This took a while.
It took a fat minute, yeah. Okay, next question is from Eli. Have you found your sexuality has changed since starting estrogen? I always hear trans guys say that tea makes them gayer. Curious if it's the same the other way around.
Yes, it made me gayer. I'm such a lesbian now. So lesbian. No, I know what he means, but
Yeah.
like, I was, so like I said, I was always into women. And I was like, uh, when I was coming out, I was just like, well, they're, I've heard the same thing with like, you take these hormones, and what I don't know is if it's the hormones that change your like sexuality, or is it because you're more comfortable being who you are and you realize that you actually aren't as straight or as gay as you thought.
Yeah.
um and so I was kind of worried about it, because I was just like, I told myself I would embrace it if I started liking guys. Like, I would embrace it, but I was terrified of having to navigate like this dating space of dating men as a trans woman, which is so much harder um, than like, and so I was scared of it. I definitely would have been scared to go on dates and things,
Right.
more than I am. But yeah, it personally did not change anything. If anything, it just like cemented, oh yeah, I am so gay. I am so gay.
Period. That's something I might have talked about it in the very, very early episodes, but that's something I've been waiting to talk about too. Is if testosterone makes you gayer, because almost 9 out of 10 trans guys I've talked to is like 100%. I was not into men before I started testosterone, and now I am. Like, it's a thing. Like, and I think it goes back to what you said. Like, I don't really think it has to do with the hormone itself, rather than us just being more comfortable in our bodies, therefore being more comfortable in our sexualities. So that makes sense. Next one from Ali. How has dating been? Is going on every date really scary? I know every time I go on a date, I'm prepared for the worst. Ali is also another trans woman. Will be a future guest, actually.
Oh, really? It's exciting.
Yes, very excited.
Um, so, I mean, dating sucks. Dating, like, I mean, before I met my ex-wife also like on dating websites. And like, I felt like I would get a decent amount of hits before, and like I, found her within like a few months and stuff. This time around, it's been like I took 1 year off. Like that first year of transition, I was just like, I need to be happy with myself first, and then once I'm happy with myself, then I can add somebody else into my life. So I took like I didn't get on dating website until like I felt like I was starting to like myself.
Right.
And so I've been trying to date for like 2 years. And I feel like with the trans women, it's like you have the guy side of things, which is like if you like guys, I should say, where you get tons of hits, but a lot of them are chasers, and some of them are very dangerous, very few, but still, like the numbers are there, that there are the sprinkling of dangerous people that you need to be careful of, and um, you know, so you have lots of hits, but like few that are good. And then me being on the woman side of things, I set up, several dating uh, things on several dating websites. And every time I did a like, you have to do the whole bio, and I would fill out the whole bio. One of them I forgot to put that I was trans, like at the very top, and it was just like, and I just forgot. Like I was doing several of them at the same time. I just forgot to put it in there. I meant to. The other two do, and and I noticed that the two that I didn't have, or that I had the trans marker on there, was just like, hey, trans lesbian, like the first thing, like just a trickle of people, very few people would like hit me up and my like and drop into my DMs and stuff and like want to talk. But the one that I forgot was blowing up, was just blowing up with girls. Like everybody was into Tori, it seemed like. And I was like, oh, and I would start talking to them, and I'm just like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then they would ask me questions that made me go, I think they think I'm cis. And like, because they'd be like, when did you come out? And I'd be like, like in 2020. And they'd be like, oh wow. And it's like, it's like, did you ever date a guy? And I'm like, no. And like, you never dated until you were 30. And I'm just like, I'm getting impressions that they don't. And so then I would tell them, and then most of the time they would just stop talking, just ghost me entirely. Sometimes they'd be like, oh, I'm not into that, and dip out. I have been on dates with people who, they say that it's not going to be a big deal that I have a penis, and then when push comes to shove, they're just like, oh, I can't do it. I thought I could, and you were like, I was using you as a, like, basically they were saying I was using you as an experiment to see if I could, and I can't, so peace out. Like,
God,
and
that's fucked
that's
up.
devastating, especially after like you're already starting like a little bit of a relationship with them.
Right.
I am out of that scene now. I'm with my girlfriend now, who I care about very much. And I'm so glad to be out of that scene, and I'm so glad to have met her. Um, so she's also just joined the Discord. Zoe, hi Zoe.
Hi.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, dating apps are not it, especially for trans people. Like, I don't know. I think I went on a dating app like once in my life where for like a week I didn't say I was trans, and then for a week I did just to see the difference. And like, I don't know. While it's really affirming, like when you don't put it in that you're trans and people don't know, it's like, okay, I'm kind of slaying. But like also, I always say, put it in your bio to make it easier for yourself so you don't have to go through all that. I don't think you are required to put it in your bio if you don't want
No.
to. But I will say it will make your life easier if you do, because then you can, shoo away all the transphobic people without actually having to talk to them. But I will say it's fucking stupid that, I don't know, because people obviously thought you were pretty. They obviously like wanted to, meet you and be close to you and, learn more about you. And then they learn one thing and I don't know. Like
Yeah,
you're the
and then
same
they
person you
go,
were.
yeah, and they, it's just like, I like, and there's still been a few that just don't even read my profile and like do the same thing that like the when I didn't have it on there, and then like they ask the same kind of questions that made me go, you think I'm sus? And then like we'll be talking on the phone and stuff, and again, they don't know, they just think that I'm, and then eventually I'm just like, I'm trans, right? And then they'll be like, then they freak out, and then I never hear from them again.
That's
So
so stupid. So
it's like,
stupid.
oh, yeah, or like I had one girl told me that this is like, well, he's like, I identify as a lesbian. Actually, she's not even a girl, she's non-binary. It's like they were just like, I identify as a lesbian still, and so I can't do a penis. And I'm like, what does that have to do with you being a lesbian? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like I am also a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And like, oh, it like goes to show how like, I don't know, how shallow people are, and they have like no fucking depth to them and can't think past themselves because sexuality is so much more than genitals, you fucking morons. Like I get it, you can have a preference and that's fine, I'm glad you know who you are, but like there's so many more things that go into it, and I could go on a tangent about that all day. But also I wanted to say that the person who said they were just experimenting with their sexuality with you, fuck you. Like as if your gender identity is an experiment
that
for
was the
other
same
people.
non-binary person too. It's like you're
Ugh,
part of the community, and you just like,
right, you should know better.
thanks.
Also, for a non-binary person, it's one thing for a cis person to do because they don't know any better, but like for a non-binary person to say those words to you and like use maybe triggering language too, like I don't know. It goes for cis people, it goes for trans people. Like when you're telling a trans person that you're not interested in them because they're trans, the least you could do, the very least, is not use triggering languages. Like, don't say those words. How about just say, hey, look, like you're a really cool person, but I don't think I'm ready myself to take on this. I don't know if I'm emotionally mature enough for this. Like,
Or how about you just say, hey, I just, I've been really thinking about it, and like I just don't think that we're a good fit. And then you don't even have to say it,
yeah.
just because like I'm not gonna sit there and be like, yeah, but why? Yeah, but why?
For real,
So
just lie. Like
yeah,
lying is
well, I mean,
okay.
it's not lying. It's just saying, hey, I just
Right.
don't feel the connection between us, and
Yeah.
like that's not really lying. You're just not being like, oh,
True.
it's because of this. It's because of what's between your legs, and
True.
I don't want to hear that.
Right.
Like,
Who does? Like, who fucking does? And like, I've never understood why people Like if you've been on one date with somebody, and this is what I mean by you could lie. Like if you've been on one date, you don't care about the person. There's no feelings there. In order to not hurt them, in my humble opinion, I think it's okay to be like, you're just not my type, or I don't have time. Like you don't have to be mean. Why would you want to hurt somebody? I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyways. The next two questions I'm actually kind of excited about. Next one is from Alex. What does femininity and womanhood mean to you, and how do you perceive it for yourself?
Yeah,
This is a crazy
that
question.
was a good question.
This is a
Like I
crazy
was just
question.
like that was the one I was just like, oh, I'm gonna have to think about it.
I don't think it's an
Um,
easy question.
Honestly, the first thing that came to my mind when like I was reading that was it's like femininity and womanhood to me means freedom.
Mm,
Like I get to be me. I like and me being able to express who I actually am and expressing my womanhood, like it's freeing.
slide.
And it's just like I've been I was happy before. Like I had moments where I was happy, like in, the before time, but
Sure.
like like the amount of love that I have and just how good I feel now on this side of the fence, like
Hmm.
it's just amazing.
I also love that this question, obviously, because it's a trans Discord, it came from a good place where, like, Matt Walsh on the streets asking strangers, what is womanhood? What does it mean to be a woman? Like, don't even get me started on that, but I don't know. There's a way to ask this question that is coming from a good place, because, there's even cis women out there who claim womanhood is being able to get your period, or like fucking, I don't know, breastfeeding. Like, if,
Have a baby.
yeah, like, girly, if you think that's what womanhood is, I'm sad for you. Like, I'm sad. That's what you boil it
And I
down to.
hope you're one of the people who can have babies because it'd be devastating for you to realize, oh, you're not a real woman because you can't have children.
Right.
But I doubt that they would think that about themselves.
Whole topic there. I don't know. It
I'm saying
goes to show
if
that.
it if it,
Go ahead.
I was just saying like it's they'll say that up until they come up against it, and I feel like a lot of people would change. I don't think they would sit there and be like, oh no, yeah, yep, I'm not a woman, couldn't have a kid, so
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And it goes to show everyone's just so obsessed with themselves to look outward.
Yeah.
Clearly, that's not what it means to be a woman, because a lot of cis women can't even do that. So, like,
Hmm.
gotcha, you're wrong. But I like that answer for, what does womanhood mean to you. I think a lot of even cis women would agree with you that it means freedom, because even cis women, you know, haven't, and from, a male's perspective and dealing with cis men all their lives, struggle with feeling free too. So, like, that's an answer that across the board, anyone or everyone, every woman in the world could probably relate to. You know what I mean? Last one is from Troy. Also a good question. What are some things that have surprised you the most about being a woman? And is there anything that you miss that you may have experienced pre-transition?
Yeah, I like this one too because like yeah, there's a few things that I miss from before. Um, but whew, um, being able to be part of like the like womanhood, I should say, like just being able to be part of like truly being girl talk, truly being seen as like my peers as another girl, and like them talking to me and it's the way they talk and the way like they like you get included. It's different than how I was before. Like before I was just like I was a man and I was part of the problem, and
Mm-hmm.
like and now it's like it feels like I'm part of the sisterhood, and for most of the people that I talk to and interact with, like it's just like I don't know, like I love that. I always craved that,
Right.
and like always wanted that, and to be like able to and now like I get it. And so that's been the biggest thing, like um, truly feeling seen for who I am and being able to be like, yeah, like that's been huge.
It's good.
I miss that.
Things that
Like that's something that I
yeah,
miss.
yeah,
Not that I would trade it for the world, but like, that is something that I used to have,
sure.
the sisterhood thing, whatever. Like, yeah, it's something that like I definitely miss.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. What are some things that you miss from before you transition?
Um, let's see. Boy pockets, girl pockets are bullshit.
That's so
Like
true.
I used to be able to have like a monster, my phone, like
For real.
just my keys, everything
Mm.
like in one pocket and be like, oh look, I have like 3 more pockets I can use. Like look at all this.
I could fit
Like
a whole
it looks like I
baseball
have a
bat in
giant
there. Yeah,
yeah, and you wouldn't even
exactly.
have yeah, and you wouldn't even have
Yeah.
like a lot of times like with how they're made, like sometimes they don't even look like you have a giant tumor on your leg. Like it's everything just fits in there.
Right.
Like
Yeah. No, it's so crazy because, as I said before, the majority of the time I only have trans men on here, and it's so cool to be able to talk to somebody who gets it just as much as another trans guy would, but gets it completely differently, if that makes sense. Like,
I know it completely. This is
ugh.
why like I started listening to your stuff because I'm just like, oh wow, it's the exact opposite. Oh wow, that guy is like, and then it just makes you just want to switch with people. Like it just makes you just want
Right.
to be like, I wish like I've had conversations with like guys who are like, oh, like even on the Discord, they're like, oh, I will give you like it's like my breasts, and I'd be like, I would take them, and I would give you like the flat chats. It's like
Right. Yeah. They have
even
to come up with
trade,
something. They have to come up with something for us.
serious, like yeah.
It fixes all our problems. All right. Now, before we go, trans song of the week. I asked you what yours was. Do you
Mhm.
remember?
Yeah, I do.
What is
It
it?
was yesterday.
I forgot to say.
The uh it's The Village.
Yes.
Um and I couldn't remember if somebody talked. I felt like somebody did, but I
It.
couldn't remember if somebody did.
I think it was one of the first time or the second time I did trans song of the week, and it was before I was asking my guests what their favorite one was. I was just like, "Here's mine." So I think I did it, but I didn't go into great detail about it.
Oh, you took it. You took my thunder.
I
Got
did.
it.
Sorry, my
Thanks.
bad.
Thanks.
But I told you that I want to talk about it again because you told me that they're making a new version of it for trans women.
So, he put out he put out a version on TikTok where like he changed like anything that was like trans mass to trans femme
Mhm.
in the song, and like I loved it, but it was only just like a TikTok, and so like he did just come out saying that like he's re-releasing the song and doing a male to female version,
That's so fun.
and it like as much like that song I remember, and like when I was still like, in boy mode at work and stuff, and I would be able to have like my earbuds in. That was one song that I would like listen to, and like the stare at other people is like, yeah, there's something wrong with you, not me. You, something wrong in the village, like, and I'd sit there and like,
So
it was just
angsty.
like a power song. Like as much as it's like, it is a sad and somber song, but
Mhm.
like it was also like empowering because it's just like you are not the problem,
Right.
society is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, and like there'd be times I would just listen to it like multiple times, even though I had like a lot of songs. I had a whole like trans playlist,
Mm-hmm.
but like, that was the one that I would like come back to over and over again,
Right.
and sit there and be in like crying in the pop aisle, like just like yeah. So
That's awesome. I love that fucking song. I remember finding that song. I think I found that song right after I had top surgery. All right. This has been awesome. I really appreciate you coming on. What are your socials? Do you want anyone to follow you?
I mean, I don't really have any
You don't
socials.
have any socials?
I don't, not really.
Do
Like I
you not
have
have a
like
life? I'm just kidding.
one of my secondary job, I work for Rainbow Alliance Advocacy, and we do a lot of work locally in the valley where I live, for primarily trans youth and
Yeah.
and LGBTQ youth at large. Um, and so like I just want to kind of plug that.
Yeah.
We have a prom redo coming up in December, for anyone who didn't go to their prom. It's like, or went to their prom as the wrong gender, as with the wrong person. And so that's an adult thing that's coming up. That I'm really excited for, and I'm on the committee, putting it all together.
Word.
So
Is there a website or an Instagram or anywhere somebody could find out more about that I could put in the description?
yes, and I can get that information to
Word.
you.
Cool. It'll be in the description below.
All right.
And since you don't have any socials, this would be a good time for me to plug the Discord really quickly. So if you want to talk to Tori, come join the Discord and she'll be there.
I will be there. I'm there like all the time.
You are now a mod. Actually, I forgot. So
I am. Yeah.
She will greet you most likely. So come say hi.
Mhm.
And other than that, follow me at HRT podcast on TikTok and Instagram. I post on there every single day. And subscribe to me here. I post every Tuesday. Thank you to everybody who became a patron this week. I very much appreciate it. Now the number is getting up there for my patrons, so you're going to be missing a lot if you're not a patron. So make sure you subscribe to me on there and join the Discord, because what is life if you are not surrounded by your community? Anyways, thank you so much for watching. And Tori, thank you for coming on today. This is one of my favorite episodes. I like the way you described things, and we related on a lot of things. So this was really great. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
And that's about it for this week. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.